A message came from the palace eunuch, asking who the hairpin belonged to. In my past life, I claimed it, and was crowned crown princess. Gu Linju treated me exceptionally well. He put me first in everything. We were in love for 10 years, until he ascended the throne. When my cousin returned from the frontier, his expression changed. His gaze became unsettled. He kept suggesting I bring her into the palace, claiming he feared I was lonely and wanted me to have company. I was too naive back then. I didn't realize they had a secret history. On his deathbed, he asked me to place the hairpin at her grave. We missed our chance in that life, he said, and we'd be together in the next. It turned out he had mistaken me for her, leaving him with a lifetime of her. Now that I've been reborn, I gave the hairpin to my cousin. She looked at the hairpin in my hand, hesitating to speak. I smiled and said, "Cousin, this was always yours. Go on, take it." She looked hesitant and a bit confused. "But isn't this the one you liked? I gave it to you years ago." She was as timid as a mouse, always mindful of my feelings. I knew it was because of her low self-esteem. After all, her family had fallen on hard time. They moved to the capital 5 years ago, seek refuge with my family. She always walked on eggshells at home. Though I joked she didn't need to be so stiff, she never changed. Whenever she bought snacks, she always bought an extra portion for me. She praised me to everyone she met. If someone complimented her beauty, calling her a stunning masterpiece, it'd say she wasn't even half as pretty as me. She lived so cautiously, which led to the tragedy of my past life. In that life, I was proud of my status. I was arrogant and overbearing, willful and spoiled. When the palace sent the hairpin, I immediately claimed to be its owner. The eunuch was overjoyed. The way he looked at me, it was as if some great fortune had arrived. I was very confused and questioned him, though he didn't say much. His every word was a congratulation. "Miss Wei, please don't press me. Just know that it's a good thing." He then hurried back to the palace. I spent the rest of the day in a daze. The next morning, that same eunuch returned. The crown prince wanted to meet at the Lotus Pavilion. As soon as he said it, I was ecstatic. I'd heard Gu Linju was wise and brave, man of great talent and courage, a rare and handsome catch. That day I was beaming with excitement. My maids dressed me up elaborately, and I rushed to the Lotus Pavilion. I wanted to make a good impression. When I arrived, he had already been waiting for a long time. Gu Linju wore a red brocade robe with python patterns. The sleeves were embroidered with gold thread. A white dragon jade pendant hung from his waist. He stood tall and straight like a pine tree. He was truly radiant. Couldn't take my eyes off him. My face turned crimson, like a ripe persimmon. Though I was too nervous to look him in the eye, I could tell he was just as struck by me. I may not have been a master of the arts, but my beauty was top tier in the capital. No woman could outshine me in that regard. So I was very confident. I had the courage. He had sharp brows and bright eyes, with long, elegant phoenix eyes. A mysterious smile played on his lips. "Miss Wei," I responded politely. "Miss Wei, forgive my forwardness, but you truly are, as they say, a beauty of a generation." My face grew even redder, but I accepted the compliment and said without any shame, "I know." Gu Linju paused. He didn't expect me to be so blunt. He burst into laughter. We chatted back and forth like that. Finally, he escorted me home. After watching him leave with joy, cousin looked at me with a complex expression. She wouldn't say a word when I asked, but I could tell she was in a bad mood. The next day, Prince requested an imperial decree for marriage. The entire Wei household was celebrating. Only my cousin looked upset. Naive as I was, I thought she just couldn't bear to lose me. I tried to comfort her in every way. I even moved into her room at night to spend our last remaining moments together. The days passed quick. Soon it was the wedding day. The Wei Manor was decorated in red. It was buzzing with guests. Everyone was wearing a smile, except for my cousin, who was despondent. When Gu Linju came to take me away, she broke down in tears. She nearly fainted. I was deeply moved. I decided that once I became empress, I would ensure she had a glorious future. The day after the wedding, my cousin left for the frontier. She said she missed home and wanted to go back. I didn't think much of it. I just thought she was homesick. Gu Linju treated me well. We lived in mutual respect. Our love seemed unwavering until my cousin returned from the frontier. I was overjoyed. I immediately had her come to the palace. As the crown princess, I couldn't easily leave. After a year apart, she had grown even more beautiful. Her eyes were captivating. The beauty mark by her eye was striking. She looked like a beauty stepped out of a painting. Gu Linju hadn't left for court yet, so I brought him to meet her. With just one look, Gu Linju was stunned. His eyes showed amazement, disbelief, and infatuation. I was too foolish. I didn't see his obsession, nor did I see her delicate shyness. From that day on, Gu Linju became colder toward me. He visited my chambers less and less. Sometimes I wouldn't see him for a week. He only came when my cousin visited. He was there almost every time she was. I suspected an affair back then. I even had her followed in secret, but I never found any proof of impropriety. 6 months later, my cousin hastily married a random man. I tried to stop her from settling. Told her she must marry for love, or she'd regret it forever. Her expression was dim. Her voice was low and raspy. She said with a hint of sorrow, "He is already married." "So what?" I replied. "I am the crown princess. I can settle this for you." My gaze was firm, working no refusal. She just gave a faint smile and didn't say another word. On the day of her wedding, Gu Linju disappeared. The whole palace was searching for him. When he was finally found, he was dead drunk, completely unconscious. I remained childless 3 years into the marriage. The empress and the officials were displeased. They even petitioned to have me deposed. My family was anxious. They pressured me to take action. But every time I tried to get him into bed, Gu Linju would fail at the critical moment. As time went on, I grew frustrated too. I tried to talk to him many times, but he only gave me looks of utter coldness. I still remember that look, as if he wanted to tear me to pieces. I was terrified. After that one time, I never pressured him again. As more time passed, I slowly let it go. 3 years later, my cousin fell into a deep depression. She became bedridden, and soon she passed away. I cried my heart out. Gu Linju watched me coldly, and suddenly laughed. It was a terrifying laugh. It made my skin crawl. After her death, Gu Linju threw all his focus into state affairs. He worked day and night. A year later, from sheer exhaustion, he collapsed at his desk. He was completely spent. Imperial doctors were helpless. I was heartbroken. My eyes were red from crying. My vision was blurred, to the point I couldn't see his face. On his deathbed, he asked me to take the token to her grave. "We missed our chance in that life," he said, "and we'll be together in the next." Only then did I realize the truth. He had mistaken me for her from the start. Leaving him with a lifetime, my cousin's death became his eternal heartache, etched forever into his bones, never to be forgotten. Since our past lives ended in a tragic separation of lovers, I'll do a good deed this time and bring them together. Seeing my cousin hesitate, I stepped forward and showed the hairpin to the eunuch. This hairpin was given to my cousin by her mother. She's worn it since she was a child. It never leaves her side. "How did it end up in your hands?" The eunuch couldn't hide the smile in his eyes. "The crown prince found it by chance during the Lantern Festival a few days ago. He's been looking for its owner. He just happened to ask the Wei family about it. Suddenly, it dawned on me. Oh, that's how it is. Then shouldn't you hurry back and tell His Highness?" Right. I'll head back immediately." The eunuch didn't even have time to straighten his sleeves. Before rushing back to report and take the credit, my cousin pulled my sleeve in confusion and asked, "Changning, did you know all along that the prince was looking for the owner?" "Is that right?" I put on an innocent face. How could I? I don't have that kind of ability. I was just telling the truth. "But I gave that hairpin to you a few days ago." "Don't worry about that. Just wait for the good news." My cousin nodded. Early the next morning, the eunuch came to our door again. He invited my cousin to the Lotus Pavilion for a meeting. Sure enough, it was just like in our past life. My cousin was overjoyed. She hurried to the 100 Flowers Pavilion to order a dress. I had already gone there in advance to order a blue and white dress, embroidered with orchids, which I gave to her. This was Gu Lingju's favorite style and color. In our past life, she wore this the first time she entered the palace. The look of wonder in his eyes then was unforgettable. After she finished dressing up, my cousin went to the Lotus Pavilion for her date. As the sun began to set, my cousin returned in Gu Lingju's carriage. The two of them were chatting and laughing the whole way. It truly looked like a match made in heaven. A perfect couple. My cousin took Gu Lingju's hand to step down from the carriage. She wasn't careful and almost tripped. Luckily, Gu Lingju reacted quickly and caught her by the waist. His expression was tender. "Be careful." My cousin lowered her head shyly. "Thank you, Your Highness." After watching my cousin enter the manor, Gu Lingju prepared to leave. I also turned to go back inside. Suddenly, he called out to me. I turned back to look at him. His gaze was complicated. After some hesitation, he finally spoke. "Changning, thank you for making this happen." I froze. I couldn't believe it. He had been reborn as well. And he knew that I had been reborn too. "How did Your Highness know I was reborn?" He was silent for a long while. He murmured, "If you hadn't been reborn, given your personality, you would have definitely claimed the hairpin as..." My heart suddenly throbbed with pain. I could hardly breathe. I felt a lump in my throat. After 10 years of marriage, he actually always thought I was the kind of person who would exploit a favor for gain. Words I wanted to say eventually turned to smoke, vanishing along with my sigh. I turned my back to him. Before closing the door, I said hoarsely, "I hope Your Highness gets what he desires. Consider this my way of making amends in this life. I no longer owe my cousin anything." Gu Lingju's expression was strange. His lips twitched slightly. You couldn't read any emotion on his face. Eventually, he slowly disappeared from my sight. It was raised to be the future empress in childhood. He never shows his emotions. We won't have any more dealings in the future anyway. It's better if we don't see each other. From then on, I avoided him. Every time he dropped my cousin off at the manor, I would wait for him to leave before coming out. But my maid, Kyoju, said she felt like someone was asking about my daily life. How could they not? "Someone asks me about you every day." "But miss, I didn't tell them anything." I told Kyoju that if she encountered them again, she should bring the person to me. At dusk, Kyoju brought the person over. After a harsh interrogation, He was finally willing to talk. It's the crown prince. I was in disbelief. What on earth does Gu Lingzhu want? Is he afraid I'll cause trouble for my cousin? He really is too suspicious. He is the high and mighty crown prince. I can't stop him from spying on me. Can only pretend nothing is happening. I let the man go. Then I told Kyuju to play dumb. Just like before, she could tell them some trivial matters. The next day, I went to Long Alley to buy candied fruit. I loved these little treats in my past life. But Gu Lingzhu always said I was the crown princess, and that my status was too noble to eat such lowly, dirty street food. As time went by, I forgot what they even tasted like. I picked up a small piece and chewed it slowly in my mouth. The familiar taste lingered in my throat. I couldn't help but marvel at such a delicacy. It's a shame Gu Lingzhu can't enjoy this. What a pity. Just as I left the shop, my cousin arrived. Gu Lingzhu was with her. My cousin excitedly took my arm, Changning. What a coincidence. Are you buying candied fruit too? I gave an awkward smile. Yes, what a coincidence. Your Highness. I greeted Gu Lingzhu. His gaze was cold. He looked at the candied fruit in my hand with disdain. There was even a hint of anger in his eyes. I looked at him again, then turned to my cousin with a smile. Cousin, are you buying candied fruit too? She nodded quickly. Then she asked the shop assistant to pack 2 portions. I was a bit confused. Although my cousin liked these treats, they don't keep for very long. With her small appetite, she'd be full after just a few pieces. Cousin, can you finish it all? My cousin looked a bit shy. I'll eat them with Lingzhu. Candied fruit? I looked at Gu Lingzhu in disbelief. Doesn't he despise these common snacks? Why is he going to try them himself today? I just nodded and didn't linger any longer. I left shortly after. After walking a few steps, I felt an intense gaze on my back. But when I turned around, I saw nothing. I had just sat down to rest after getting home, when Kyuju came in with a letter. It was brought by Gu Lingzhu's attendant. I tore it open and felt a surge of anger. The letter said that I was forbidden from eating those junk snacks. It was one thing for him to control me in our path, but we have no connection in this life. What right does he have to restrict me? I burned the letter. The next day, I went back to the shop to buy more. He forbids me from eating them, yet he's enjoying them himself. How shameless. Looking at the candied fruit in my hand, I was in a great mood. I ate as I walked. Suddenly, a thug blocked my path. The man's face was covered in sores. He squinted his eyes, with a lecherous look on his face. Where are you going, beautiful? Do you want me to keep you company? I frowned. My face was full of disgust. Get lost, or I'll call for help. The thug was unmoved. He approached me step by step. I retreated step by step. After a few steps, I hit a dead end. My back was against the wall, just as I was about to grab a nearby stick to hit him. The thug was suddenly stopped. A young gentleman in red martial attire, with a red ribbon tying back his hair, kicked the thug repeatedly in the chest. The thug wailed in pain, begging for mercy, just as he was about to be let go. I blocked his way. Then I struck the thug on the head with the stick. Blood flowed freely, dripping from his nose onto the ground. He fainted from the pain. The gentleman in red watched, dumbfounded. I'm the one who was harassed. I haven't said you could leave yet, so how do you I threw down the stick and brushed the dust off my sleeves. I thanked him. Only then did I see his face clearly. A pair of bright phoenix eyes. Long and slanted, handsome with sharp features and bright. He was tall and well-built, with a powerful athletic frame. He exhibited an air of nobility. I recognized this man. He is the most brilliant young talent in the capital. Newly appointed top scholar, Sung Xian. I remember his end in my past life was tragic. Because he won a polo match against the second prince, he was eventually arrested on trumped-up charges of treason. I believe the polo match is in a few days. As they say, saving a life is a noble deed beyond measure. Besides, he once saved my life too. I look at him with a serious expression and say coldly, Sir, if you want to keep your life, you'd better not go to the polo match in a few days. He is taken aback, unable to believe his ears. His voice rises in surprise. How did you know I was participating in the polo match? And, you know who I am? Corners of my mouth turn up. I smile when the top scholar paraded through the street. In the capital, who wouldn't want to see such a great talent? Besides, doesn't Lord Song recognize me as well? If I remember correctly, someone just said his voice was too low, and they couldn't hear what he said. What was it? But I was standing close, and I clearly heard him say, Miss Wei, are you all right? Song Xian looks down and smiles. After thanking me, he rides away. 9 days later, Song Xian indeed didn't go to the polo match, because he supposedly fell from his horse and was badly injured. He withdrew. The one who won against the second prince at the match became Song Xian's rival, Zheng Heng. He won the match and was incredibly arrogant. He humiliated the second prince in front of everyone. The second prince was so angry he gnashed his teeth, smashing whatever he could get his hands on. This person even went as far as to write a letter, mocking Song Xian for missing the match. As if he had... Song Xian didn't hold a grudge. He sent someone to Zhang's manor to offer thanks, but before Zhang, Heng could enjoy his glory for long. He was found drowned in his own pond one morning. The authorities casually ruled it an accidental fall and closed the case. However, Everyone in the capital knew exactly what happened, but no one dared to speak up. Song Cheyenne came specifically to thank me for this. He sought answers from me, his face full of doubt. Miss Wei, how could you have known about this in advance? I pick up my teacup and take a sip. It's a bit hot. I brow for her slightly. Her eyelashes tremble slightly. She looks a bit flustered. She quickly takes the teacup from my hand, her eyes filled with concern. Miss Wei, are you all right? I shake my head. After calming down, I tell him everything. How do I know these things? Actually, it stems from a dream I had a few days ago. He is shocked. I dreamed you won against the second prince at the match, which caused him to harbor a grudge, leading to a tragic and total downfall for you. A hint of panic appears in Song Cheyenne's eyes. It takes him a moment to recover his composure. A cup of tea later, as I'm seeing him out, we happen to run into Gu Linju, bringing my cousin home. When he sees Song Cheyenne coming out with me, the smile on his face freezes. His gaze becomes complicated, his tone somewhat accusatory. What is the top scholar doing at the Wei Manor? Are you that idle? His tone is cold. The temperature around us seems to drop suddenly. Song Cheyenne remains elegant and refined. He replies unhurriedly. I am merely here to thank Miss Wei for saving my life. I'm simply being a man who repays his debts. Gu Linju raises an eyebrow. He says playfully, oh, Miss Wei is actually capable of saving the all-powerful, exceptionally talented top scholar. I roll my eyes. I reply to the crown prince with a hint of hostility. I really did save him. Gu Linju's pupils contract slightly. He looks caught off guard. He seemingly didn't expect me to talk back to him, and his expression turns to anger. When he looks at Song Cheyenne, he looks like he wants to tear him apart. I quickly send Song Cheyenne away. He also sees my cousin inside. Before leaving, his face is grim. His voice is icy. I didn't know that you were so indiscreet. Before marriage is even discussed, you are already having private trysts. I show no emotion on my face. I simply say coldly, didn't I do the same in my past life? The words fall lightly, but they are like a block of ice, smashing hard against Gu Linju's heart. His whole body suddenly stiffens. A piercing chill instantly spreads around him. In those eyes that are usually deep and restrained, an uncontrollable anger surges. He is stunned. With a hint of panic, he doesn't want to admit. He stares at me intently, as if truly seeing me for the first time. The old Wei Changning was arrogant and bright, her heart and soul completely filled with him. As long as he showed a little tenderness, I would be happy for a long time. The old me would restrain my temper for him, manage the Eastern Palace for him, and look forward to being his crown princess forever. I was never this cold and distant, let alone speaking to him with such a mocking tone. The current me has indifferent eyes and a calm expression. In the gaze I direct at him, there's no adoration, no lingering affection, not even a single ripple of emotion. It's like looking at a complete stranger. Gu Linju's Adam's apple bobs. His tone is stiff and carries a hint of suppressed fury. Wei Channing, do you know what you're saying? An unmarried girl meeting a man in private will damage the Wei family's reputation if it gets out, and ruin your own honors. Hearing this, I can't help but let out a low laugh. But the smile doesn't reach my eyes. It's full of self-deprecation and indifference. So the crown prince has finally started to care about my honor and the Wei family's reputation. I look up, meeting his gaze directly. Word by word, crystal clear. In my past life, I was your crown princess for 10 years, guarded the Eastern Palace, guarded my loneliness, and guarded my devotion to you. I fulfilled my duties, never involving myself with any other man. I followed every rule, remaining dignified and composed. But did you ever spare me a second glance? Did you ever consider my feelings? Your heart was with someone else. You neglected me and distanced yourself from me. You let the officials gossip about my childlessness, and let the Empress find fault with me in every way. From beginning to end, did you ever think of me for even a moment? Now you've got what you wanted. You're about to marry the cousin you've always longed for. You've fulfilled the regret from your past life. So why do you suddenly have time to care who I see? Or to criticize my behavior? Every word is like a tiny blade, lightly cutting into Gu Linju's heart. He opens his mouth, but is momentarily speechless. He can't find a single word to refute me. It's true, in the past life, he was the one who owed me. He mistook a substitute for true love, neglected me for 10 years, and betrayed 10 years of my deep affection. In this new life, I was the one who stepped aside. Let him and my cousin be together, cutting all ties between us. We should have been even and gone our separate ways, not interfering with each other. But when he sees another man by my side, sees that I no longer revolve around him, and sees that my eyes hold no tenderness for him, he feels an inexplicable, restless anxiety. Jealousy stirs within him, and even he doesn't understand where these feelings come from. I can't be bothered to watch his inner struggle anymore, nor do I want to waste any more words on him. The affection from my past life vanished the moment I died. In this life, I fulfilled his obsession and cleared all debts. From now on, our paths shall never cross again. All grievances are settled. I lightly brush my sleeves and signal the servants to close the door. The heavy doors slowly shut, completely cutting off that heavy gaze from outside, and the last shred of connection between us. Gu Linju stands there, not leaving for a long time. The autumn wind swirls the fallen leaves, but he is oblivious. Those phoenix eyes stare fixedly at the closed vermilion doors. Regret surges in his eyes, along with resentment, irritation, and a loneliness he doesn't want to acknowledge. He thought rebirth was a gift from heaven, a chance to make up for the regrets of his youth. He finally married the white moonlight of his dreams, fulfilling his lifelong obsession. But once his wish finally came true, he realized that his heart wasn't as full or joyful as he'd imagined. Instead, it felt empty. He got the silver chopsticks he wanted, reunited with the stunning woman from his youth, and was about to marry her as his princess with a grand ceremony. Yet, he somehow lost the one who once had eyes only for him. Wei Changning, who had given him her everything. He used to dislike my boldness and willfulness, and found my bluntness annoying. But now that I've become indifferent and cold, he's the one starting to panic. He can't help but spy on my daily life, and gets angry whenever other men appear by my side. How ridiculous. People are always like this. They don't cherish what they have, and only wake up once they've lost it. But by then, it's already too late. Beside the door, I leaned against the wood, letting out a long, slow breath. My heart was perfectly calm, without a single ripple of motion. Kyuju hurried to my side, her face full of worry. Miss, talking back to the crown prince like that offend him. Will you get in trouble? If he holds a grudge in the future, what if he makes things difficult for the Wei family? I shook my head gently, a faint, indifferent smile touching my lips. It's fine. I've already given him exactly what he wanted most. What he owes me, he can never repay in this lifetime. From now on, I'll mind my own business. I won't provoke him, nor will I cling to imperial power. I'll stay safely with the Wei family, stay by my parents' side, read books, sip tea, stroll the streets, and eat candied fruit. I'll live my own carefree life. Why should I care about his moods anymore? In my past life, I was trapped in the palace, trapped by love. I bet my whole life on Gu Lingzhu, only to end up with a heart full of sorrow, dying with deep resentment. In this life, I've seen through it all. An emperor's deep love is nothing but an illusion. Glory and wealth are just a cage. I don't want the honor of being crown princess, nor the prestige of being empress. And I certainly won't be anyone's substitute, or anyone's second best choice. I am simply myself, the eldest daughter of the Wei family, carefree, living as I please. Over the next few days, I deliberately avoided any place where I might run into Gu Lingzhu. He still frequently escorted my cousin home, but every time he arrived, his eyes would instinctively drift toward my courtyard. He kept looking toward my courtyard, always trying to catch a glimpse of me, but I stayed hidden inside every time, refusing to see him. He sent people to spy on my daily routine and track my movements. He even childishly wrote letters trying to control my tastes, bidding me from eating street-side candied fruit. But I refused to follow his wishes. Would still find time to go to Longley Street. I still went to buy my favorite candied fruit. In my spare time, I'd go for outings, and occasionally receive Songxian, who came to thank me. Songxian was gentle and polite, knowing exactly how to behave. He was always respectful, never overbearing or controlling like Gu Lingzhu. He didn't make assumptions about my character, nor did he criticize me from a position of superiority. He knew I had the gift of foresight, and treated me with awe and gratitude. He was always humble and kind, treating me simply as a friend. He never once overstepped his bounds. Word gradually spread through the court that the new top scholar and the Wei family's daughter were close. Many secretly speculated if the two families intended to arrange a marriage. When Gu Lingzhu heard the rumors, his frustration and jealousy grew more intense. Several times, he deliberately blocked the Wei Manor entrance, wanting to say something to me, but I avoided him every single time. He was about to marry my cousin, and the whole city was filled with congratulations. Everyone praised the prince and my sister as a match made in heaven. Misconnection in a past life, finally fulfilled in this one. Only Gu Lingzhu knew in his heart that this fulfillment hid an irreparable void. He stood in the bustling crowd, with a brilliant future ahead of him, about to marry his beauty. Yet he could never find that person again, the one who once loved him with all her heart. As the wedding day drew closer, the entire Wei household was busy preparing for the ceremony. It was a scene of joy and excitement. Every time my cousin saw me, she looked shy and happy, telling me how gentle and considerate the prince was, and how much he cherished their hard-won fate. I listened quietly, smiling faintly, sincerely wishing her well. Perhaps they were always destined for each other. I had just accidentally disrupted it in my past life, so seeing them together now is a good thing. I had already stepped away from the stage, watching from the sidelines as they finally united. I no longer dwell on the 10 years of devotion from my past life, nor do I grieve over Gu Lingzhu's coldness. Let the misplaced past scatter with the wind.
In this reborn life, I live only for myself, the deep love of a palace emperor. I will never touch it again. I don't envy their destined love one bit. For the rest of my life, I have my family, my hobbies, my favorite candied fruits, and a life of freedom. I don't need to please anyone, and I don't need to be anyone's shadow.